So finally, Isaac is not on vacation. So
and only 9 minutes late. In my defense, I am retarded. I want that on the record.
On the record.
So, because this is technically a podcast and sort of, I guess, have to pay tribute to, we lost a great on Monday. John C. Dvorak passed away, co-host of the No Agenda Show and DH Unplugged, founder of, I think, Tech, what was it, Tech Grouch, and yeah, one of the greats. 80 years old. He died.
He just died.
He died. He had a heart attack about 5 or 6 months ago.
Mm-hmm.
Had a big bypass surgery and had been recovering since then. Still doing the show, basically from a hospital bed.
Jeez.
And then he died on Monday. So
I don't know who you're talking about, but I know about the No Agenda Show because you talk about it. So
it's like not Jeff Cooper dying, but somebody like him.
So still, I mean, I get it. It's one of those humans where like
a man who famously said, there is no evidence that anybody is going to use the computer mouse. Which at the time was a true statement.
John or Jeff Cooper?
John. Yeah. So
he said, no fucking way people are going to use that.
No. He said there's no evidence that people will use it. Yeah.
There.
So
yeah, because back then it was all
words. Yeah, it was all keyboard stuff. Words that would haunt him for the rest of his life. Misinterpreted. So anyway, what do we got? Do we have anything on the calendar? I've got defensive handgun class, which I haven't even checked to see if anybody signed up for yet. So
yeah, you should have 2 people.
Okay.
I think.
Defensive handgun, and I am doing a private class in September down on the ranch. So it'll be back to the ranch for a class. Going to do a class for a bunch of firefighters who hopefully will be done firefighting by then because they're all from the Rye area.
Yeah, shit's fucking crazy down there.
Yeah.
In the Rye area.
So
yeah, I've got a carbine class coming up August 30th.
August 30th.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
30th. So check that.
And donate. Because I don't know about you, but for me personally, I am at the point where I am basically losing money on these classes.
Yeah, it's not fun. It's not fun.
And it's, like to some degree, it's like money's not why I do this. I know that's not exactly true for you because you got to eat, but if I have to pay to continue to do this, like, I don't know how much longer I'm going to continue to do it.
Well, it's always been true for me. This whole, yes, we're a nonprofit, and that's kind of the way it's been set up for a very long time. And
nonprofit's not supposed to mean no money, though.
No profit. Yeah, it's not supposed to be no revenue.
No profit, no money.
Right.
I mean, if you're really running a nonprofit the American way, you'd be rich.
Yeah. It'd be fucking. Yeah. Because
you have a yacht with a luchador wrap on it.
Yeah, just fucking money laundering. So that's all a 501c3 is for most humans. It's just fucking legal money laundering.
Yep.
So we're doing it wrong. We're doing it so wrong.
Yeah, if only we knew some kind of criminal organization that could use money laundering. Wouldn't that be helpful?
I'm fucking down. I don't give a fuck. The only problem is now you're indebted to that shit.
Yeah.
It's
I've seen the movies. I know how it works.
Yeah. That catch-22 of like, this is easy. I ain't gotta kill nobody. I ain't gotta sell shit. I just have to fucking wash the money.
But
Have you seen Ozark?
what happens when you can't wash the money anymore?
Yeah. Have you seen Ozarks?
I saw the first 2 seasons, I think.
I think I give up after the 3rd one where it's just like, this is just the same episode over and over, and I
Yeah.
feel like that about every fucking show, by the way. Like, after
Yeah.
the first 2 seasons, just like you're just recycling episodes now.
Yeah.
But
Most shows are just recycling each other anyway.
yeah.
Yeah. I've been watching ER with my wife, which was a fantastic show. And my daughter has been watching The Good Doctor, which is like the retarded version of ER. Literally retarded. Like the main character is borderline retarded.
He's got the tism, right?
Yeah. He takes it to the Raymond level.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've seen clips of
Rayman.
it.
So
I've seen clips of it. We were supposed to watch it, and then the fucking family started watching it without me.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't even wanna watch it anymore. I've been betrayed.
I'm just like, I'm watching the show. I'm like, there's no way this person would ever get a medical license.
No fucking way.
No way.
No.
Let alone be like a superstar surgeon. They wouldn't let him in the operating room.
He could be a fucking NRA certified instructor, though. Or USCCA certified instructor. Easy.
Yes. Yes. Speaking of, certain someone who expressed interest in becoming an instructor has gone radio silent the last few months. So
You have to be specific because there's so fucking many. I know so many.
I'm just telling the general story.
So fucking many where it's just like, what?
Sometimes I think it's me, like somebody be like, oh yeah, let's do it. And I'm like, all right, come to one of these classes. And we come to one of those classes. And then I never hear from them ever again.
Man.
I'm like, is it me? Am I retarded? You do have to ask that question at least once a week.
It's probably me.
Maybe you ask once a month, but I'm asking myself at least once a week. Am I retarded?
Well, I'm of the mind. I forget where I heard this saying. I think it's one of those Stoic sayings where if it's a problem, it's got a solution, but if it doesn't have a solution, it's not a problem. It's just a reality.
Mm-hmm.
So like I accept that I'm probably just fucking retarded on so many levels. I'm just like, whatever. I wouldn't want to deal with me either.
I'm the one who has to look at myself in the mirror every day. You think I like that? Yeah. Yeah, I get impatient with myself quite often. So and as I get older and I have trouble finding the words, sometimes I'm like, God, what a retard. Now you can't even talk. So we have for work, we're using Microsoft Facilitator, and you can have it record everything that happens in a meeting. So now I have it record everything, and then I look at all the things that I said. I'm like, God, did I really say all that? That's pretty dumb. So, and what's even scarier is people will come up to me and be like, you're really awesome at your job. I'm like, man, imagine if this is what makes me think like it's not that hard to achieve greatness.
Oh, it's easy.
Because I look at myself, I'm like, you're half retarded and people think you're doing a good job. Like, what if you actually had brains? What if you actually had some skills?
Dude, my fucked up shit would be like, they're just lying. They're clearly fucking lying to me. Because everybody just likes to fucking stroke. Just be nice. So in the back of my brain, I was like, no, they got to know I'm retarded, and they're just being nice because I'm that fucking retarded.
If they ask you, like, do you need help to your car? Like, no, you're just being nice. Yeah, I was thinking about this when it comes to people carrying guns in public. And you're like, well, I am considered to be some kind of authority because I'm up in front of the class. Like, if for no other reason, not because you're smart, not because you have the right information, but I'm just in front of the class. and I've been verified, whatever that means, by a local authority, and I've been certified, whatever that means, by some governing body, right? Because we know with the NRA, all you need is a pulse,
and USCCA.
And USCCA, all you need is a pulse to pass their instructor certification course. So people come to these classes and they're asking you questions, and you're doing your best to answer them, but you realize when you answer the question, like how many things you're leaving out of the answer.
Oh yeah, for sure.
There's like, man, there's so much more to this, so much more to this. And you know that this person is not probably going to come back to any kind of training environment.
Correct.
And it's not that they're retarded. Like, there's a good chance they're retarded. But even if they weren't retarded, they're only getting a sliver of information.
Correct.
About carrying a gun in public. And yet,
yeah,
even though roughly 60 million people in this country can legally carry a gun, we don't really have a problem with people who are concealed carrying legally, whatever that means.
Yeah.
And shooting themselves in the face, shooting the wrong person, it's strange to me that we put this emphasis on you're not responsible unless you get training, but the evidence doesn't really show that's to be true.
It's crazy, huh?
Like, I believe that you should be trained, if nothing else, just for the sake of handling a firearm.
Correct.
Period. And we see people handle firearms and you're like, whoa, However, even with all of that being true, we still don't have the level of accidents that you would imagine you would see with guns being as dangerous as they are and people being as uninformed and possibly as retarded as they are.
Well, I've been struggling with this kind of along those lines. I've been struggling with this idea because somebody asked me over the weekend, like, what process do you go to make sure that this firearm is a good firearm? And I can give you an easy answer. The easy answer is shoot 1,000 rounds, and if you have no malfunctions, it's probably a reliable gun. But I don't know how you're going to use it. I've seen really good guns fail in the hands of fucking idiots.
Mm-hmm.
That happens a lot. So then it becomes this conversation of like, well, how much do you understand the physics and how the gun actually works? So that is true. Like, you should understand how it actually works, or else you'll never really know how reliable the gun is, or why it's reliable, or why it's not reliable. Is it you? Is it not you? Like, what can you do to fix it? But at the same time, nobody cares.
Yeah. You could give them the simple answer and you can give them the difficult answer, and they're probably not going to do either one of those things.
Correct. So like either way, it doesn't matter. So and that was my answer, is like, but you don't care about that. Like, I can tell you, understand how it all works and the physics and how the recoil springs affects it. And if you use an aftermarket magazine and those springs affect the way it feeds, and like there's so many things that could affect the way a gun is reliable. It's not as easy as just it's reliable, it's not reliable. But when I'm talking to Granny who's never owned a gun before, and I'm explaining to them how to defend themselves, they couldn't give two fucks about any of that shit because of the level of I just don't want to die. So it's this weird balance of like, you're an idiot and you probably don't care to become a person who's not an idiot. You're okay and comfortable in being an idiot.
Yeah. And we watched the Jeff Bezos rocket explode a couple months ago.
Yeah.
Margin for error, very, very small. Right? Like, you're dealing with launching a rocket into space and eventually going to put people on this rocket, and you're dealing with, hundreds of thousands of pounds of fuel and massive amounts of energy and, aerodynamics, stability, computers, all this stuff. With firearms, I mean, we can call it whatever we want. We can call it luck. We can call it, risk, whatever, but it's a pretty big margin for error.
Yeah.
And I'm not excusing unsafe handling. I'm not excusing a lack of interest in becoming safe with your gun, because that's a real problem, is a lack of interest. But we have to look at the reality. There are, 3 or 4 guns for every adult in this country?
Yeah.
Somewhere around there, 3 to 4 guns for every adult in this country. And for how incredibly powerful a firearm is, we have a very low rate of accidental injury and death with firearms. And we have a pretty low rate of intentional but non-justified use of a firearm. So, I meant to point the gun at somebody, I meant to shoot them, but we couldn't justify it with, the law or morality or whatever. So, sympathy praise. I don't know what that means.
No fucking clue. By the way, it looks like the chat is not working super correctly. So
it's because I'm here.
Yeah, it's because you're on here. So that's the way I'm going to do the chat. I'm just going to put it on the screen, and you guys could probably see it or not. But I cannot see the chat the way I normally do. So Isaac fucked it all up. Just FYI.
Yeah, probably my password. So, and the reason why this is so important to me, I think, is because I am a big proponent of training, and I preach training, but there is a stark reality confronting the gun community, and that is most people don't really train, and B, there doesn't seem to be a significant consequence for that.
Yeah.
There are anecdotal consequences, but we've seen the rate of accidents have gone down. And I think it's safe to say that the NRA could take credit for a big chunk of that. But really, that's more educational than it is skill building.
Correct.
Right? The Eddie the Eagle program and kind of educating people about why certain rules are important in specific contexts. The NRA, makes a big deal about not loading your gun until it's ready for use. That's one of the NRA's basic firearm safety rules. Don't load your gun until it's ready to use. And if you create a culture around not leaving guns loaded when they don't need to be loaded, you're probably going to have less accidents.
Yeah.
So I think the NRA could take some credit for that. I don't know what else to give credit for or to on that. Maybe people are, maybe the internet has had some influence on pressuring people to be safe with their guns, at least to have the right attitude.
But there's got to be more to that. There's got to be some. It's not even gun stuff, because if we do the same with cars,
mm-hmm.
I think proportionally we have the same amount of accidents, considering significantly more humans drive than own firearms,
mm-hmm.
and accidents are still pretty low. And I mean, that's a 3,000, 4,000 pound murder machine that you're driving at 80 miles an hour. There has to be some level of background automated shit going on where you're still retarded.
I know what it is.
You're still retarded, but not enough to be super dangerous, super whatever you want to call it.
I think I know what it is.
What's that?
As we've become more affluent, we have become more risk averse.
Okay.
We're more careful than we used to be in general. We wear helmets. We don't drink as much. We're not having as many teen babies. Yeah. We are having less overall deaths from accidents. We're pussies. When I was in the Dominican Republic, these guys were on a motorcycle and they were going through an intersection and they almost got hit by a semi truck. And the driver of the little bus that we were in, he kind of shook his head and he goes, "Well, that's the way it is down here." And we had a laugh about it. And he said, "Those who are afraid to die never deserve to live in the first place." And I was like, that seems like a real third world type attitude. And I'm not saying it's a bad way to live. It is a shorter way to live.
For sure.
But when we talk about, like, I got into an argument on YouTube because I said Melissa Flanell was posting a video about the new SB 003 laws and, what they're going to do. And they're all set up to start, doing all the steps to get people to be able to buy these guns. And there's all these people in the comments talking, mad shit. And somebody brought up gun stores, and I just made the argument, like, if all the gun stores refused to participate in this, we would probably see some action. And their comment was like, "Well, yeah, but then they're risking their whole business." I'm like, well, obviously they're risking their whole business, but we have to be willing to risk something. Freedom, we love to say it, freedom is not free. But when it comes time to actually do something about it, everyone is, well, but my thing is more important. And it's like, okay, if that's the way you think, then just admit it. Just admit that your business is more important to you than your Second Amendment right. But we kind of like have gotten so far as a society without realizing or without having to confront a lot of risk. And that's because I think we're just more careful than we used to be overall.
Well, I don't know. I wish he would have jumped on. I wanted to have, just because you're talking about that stuff,
mm-hmm.
I wanted to have Kyle from Empire Gun Club on, because he's vehemently disagrees with us on this idea of if you're profiting and if you're continuing that stuff. So maybe he'd have something to add about that. But yeah, I mean, I hate to agree with you, but I do think that we are significantly more cautious. I yelled at the class on Saturday, as I do. I got so fucking fed up.
Was this a range class or a classroom?
Classroom class. Like, I got so fucking pissed. I don't mind when students get up and they stand up, because I get it. You're fucking sitting for 4 hours. But people were texting, and then one dude got up and went to their this was at LT Arms. They have a recliner there. He went to the fucking recliner and fucking reclined. A fucking chick during the class answered the phone. And I was like, "Are you fucking like?" I was like, "Are you serious? Like, you're just fucking in the middle of the class answering a fucking phone call?" So then I had to remind these people. I was like, "This is the people who are carrying guns. This is why doing these classes is a fucking soul sucker for me. Like, it's an absolute fucking soul sucker for me." Like, you know how many people in Mexico would love to be in your fucking position where it'd be so simple to go buy a gun? I was like, I brought up their concept of, because it's a pretty diverse class. Like, there's always diversity in our class, which I always appreciate. But there's this talk about how the U.S. is oppressive and racist, and I was like, you guys don't know how even those of you guys that feel oppressed and fucking privileged. Like, you guys are in the fucking classroom. You guys couldn't give two fucks because you're so fucking entitled, texting and on the fucking phone, answering fucking phones, reclining like this is fucking lounge time. Like, this is how fucking entitled you are. as a fucking society, this is why these classes are garbage.
Yeah. Yeah.
They don't do shit.
Well, it's a tale as old as time, right? You go to the the Ivy League school or the prep school or whatever, and you got all the kids who don't realize what their great grandfathers went through to build the fortune that made it possible for them to be there.
Yeah.
And then you got the people who, they come to this Ivy League school and their family doesn't even really have enough to eat, and somehow they made it, to this pinnacle of educational excellence, this opportunity they got. I mean, classic movie plots, book plots, human interactions. We've all seen it to some degree. There was a really good word for it that was developed like a decade ago, affluenza. It's like a sickness of not realizing
how people would understand, even if you're poor in this fucking country,
right?
How fucking lucky you are.
Yeah.
And I'm not even speaking about this from a political perspective, so I don't want to get into like, well, the US is still racist. Like, I don't go to another country first.
Yeah.
Off, go to another country and then come back and say we're still like the top racist fucking country. Go there, go to Spain and see how they treat Moroccans.
Mm-hmm.
Go see their wall.
How old is that wall too? It's probably hundreds of years old, right?
It's fucking, I think like 2 miles long. Like it's a fucking pretty crazy wall. Anyways, from a gun perspective, if you go to Mexico and you teach classes, like I can't even get mad at these people when they show up with 22s because they're like, this is all I got, dude. This is all that's available. This is all I got. I'm lucky to even fucking be here. And then here it's just like, oh, like I'm bothering you that I'm teaching the fucking class. I'm interrupting your fucking texting. And I guess kind of going back to the beginning, and there's still very little accidents with firearms.
Yeah. I mean, there's one more element too that we didn't really talk about, which is the engineering has improved.
Yeah.
Right. So we have drop safeties and we have better designed guns as well. It's kind of like adding airbags to cars. Doesn't necessarily mean that people got safer with their driving habits. Could be the equipment too, but it's a nuanced topic because if you say something like this in a class, you're getting people who, again, this is the only time they're really going to hear anybody talk about it. And then the instructor spent like 5 minutes talking about how this wasn't really necessary. and then they're going to go like, well, yeah, that's true. It's like, it's true in context. If you need more context to understand this point a little bit better. And I can tell you that I have never encountered anybody who went through any kind of a self-defense situation where they said at the end of it, I wish I was less prepared for this.
Correct.
So, even though the preparation that you had might have been what we would call inadequate, there's nobody who's like, well, I would have been better off if I had less preparation. So anyway, it strikes me all the time because, when I do the safety briefing and then I'm very careful about how I say my words and everything. And I'm trying to come up with the exact perfect wording so that nobody does anything stupid. And then it never fails. Like at least one person ends up doing something stupid. And you try to limit that as much as possible, but any honest instructor will tell you that it happens. You can't hold their hand and put the gun into the holster for them. Like there is a limit to how much control you have once people start handling firearms. So, yeah,
which is crazy,
man. It is absolutely piss and rain here. Is any of the noise coming through?
Yeah, but we like it. It's nice. No, you can hear it though.
You can hear it?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Do we have a noise gate or anything?
Yeah, there is in the settings, but it's one of those where it's
shouldn't use it.
Yeah, you could try.
Okay. Gun website says maybe if you could restructure your class into mostly YouTube comedy shorts and trending TikTok dances, it honestly might be more effective. I mean, we see how effective it is to get people to, like, change the way they vote. We got people eating Tide Pods. Obviously, there's some kind of level of effectiveness to doing that. So,
yeah, I'm looking for this video again. Last week I talked, or not last week, 3 months ago when our last podcast was, we talked about the biases, and I had brought up, and it correlates to what we're talking about right now. This idea that collectively we're just super retarded. I ended up it was from Vsauce. I find that video, but you guys can look it up. It's counting I think I talked about counting the marbles or candies or Skittles in a jar. That if you ask people individually, the average guesses were pretty fucking. If you took the mean out of all of that, they were pretty fucking on. But then they did, the Vsauce try to do this at a fair, except they fucked up. It was a complete accident. They fucked up, and they were asking people while they were in line together. So now people were influencing, and there was no longer any number that was even fucking close to what. So
yeah,
this shit was wrong. So it's like individually we tend to be super awesome, but then you get people in the class and everybody just collectively just retarded.
Yeah.
Like the worst. Like it's not even a little bit. It's incredible how much more retarded. Because all you need is one retard to have a lot of confidence. I see the test when they were taking the test. One guy was saying very confidently all of the answers. This is the answer. I was like, and at one point I was like, okay, there's one human who's very confidently saying all of the wrong answers. So I highly recommend you guys. And nobody questioned. Everybody like, yeah, you just confidence of I'm a fucking idiot and I'm gonna say, and everybody's like, well, I don't want that conflict.
Yeah. Well, man, it could be a lot of things. It could just be being lazy, right? So you're letting somebody else do the work for you. Work, by the way, that you don't even really believe in. So there's even less motivation to put in the effort to do it correctly. There's also this idea that, like, there's a million ways to do something, and the right way is, like, there's probably one right way or maybe two right ways to do something. So if somebody else expresses some level of confidence that they figured out the right way to do it, it's our natural inclination to say, well, this person must have discovered the magical right way to do it, and I'm better off following them than I am trying to blaze my own trail.
Yeah.
Because in most cases, you're probably right. Like, everywhere you go, you drive on the road. That's somebody else blazing a trail for you. And could you leave the road with your car? Yeah, you could, but you know it's going to end badly for you. So, like, subconsciously, you're just being programmed that where everybody else has been, that's where I should go. So, like, I think there's a lot of explanations for it, but it's absolutely true. On the form that you have to sign in on in order to shoot at the range that we go to, it says pistol. And what it means is, are you shooting on the pistol range or on the rifle range? But I had one class where one person just wrote the gun they brought, and then everybody else underneath of them wrote the gun they brought. And I'm like, nobody's ever done that before except this class. Everybody did it.
Everybody did it
because the first person did it.
Correct.
So
it's just fucking awesome. I found it. And do you just want to play the whole thing?
Yeah, I mean, we can always pause it.
220.
Talk over it if we need to.
Yeah, here we go. I just think it's fucking fascinating when real experiments kind of pop up. Here we go.
These jelly beans were...
Can you hear it?
Yep, can hear it.
We're part of a psychological experiment whose results have never seen the light of day until now. It all started 6 years ago. I went back to my old high school to build a tiny brain made out of people that could recognize numbers. On that same day, we ran a second experiment simultaneously that was based on a contest held in 1906 in Plymouth. Hundreds of people were asked to guess the weight of an ox. Now, no one made a guess that was particularly close, but the mathematician Francis Galton played around with the numbers and found something quite strange. The median of all the guesses, the number right in the middle of them, was spookily accurate. It was correct within less than 1%. Now, since then, that finding has been replicated and extensively studied, and it is now called the wisdom of the crowds. I've talked about it before because I love it and I think it's really important. The basic idea is that when you have a group of people and they're all sharing opinions, thoughts, and making guesses, a lot of them, most of them, will be wrong, but they'll be wrong in ways that offset each other. Some people will guess way too low, others will guess way too high, and the geometric mean or the median of all their answers can wind up being scarily correct. To demonstrate the effect ourselves, we filled this jar with jelly beans. Yes, it used to be full. Over the last 6 years, my daughter and I have been eating them very slowly. Is it safe to eat jelly beans that are this old? Guess we'll find out. Anyway, we asked participants who were registering to be a part of our brain made of humans to also guess how many jelly beans they thought were in the jar. Our results were not what we expected. One person got really close. Caleb Johnson guessed within 54 beans, but the average and the median of everyone's guesses were off by thousands. Our crowd was not wise. What had gone wrong? Well, it didn't take us very long to figure out the problem. We had not asked people to guess privately. Instead, the families and friends who showed up that day all talked with each other and they influenced each other. Things like, oh, I'm gonna guess 10,000. Oh, really? Well, I'm gonna guess 10,001. Ha, you just got prices righted, dork. By working together, the crowd lost its wisdom. That's in line with prior research that's found that when people work on certain problems together, they attempt to reach a consensus and frequently, in doing so, decrease their accuracy. I didn't talk about this experiment or our results in the episode, but
I that's about it.
Yeah.
And we see this a lot. The gun community is more interested in the consensus than being correct.
We've said this before. That would also imply, though, that people who work independently, on average is not the right word, but median, arrive at the right answer. Right?
Well, I think the experiment is that even if you did get somebody wrong, you would have somebody on the other side who get it more correct.
Right.
And it offsets the other person. So if you worked on your own and you were right or closer to the correct answer, and I worked alone and I got it wrong, later we would come back and be like, well, here's what I found and here's what I found. And it's no longer a consensus to a certain degree. It's more like, this is my findings.
Right.
Yeah, that's science. These are my findings.
The key is that you worked independently.
Correct.
And you, after you worked independently, found some way to share your findings.
Correct.
So, but that, like, this, I mean, I've talked about this before, but this is a good example of people rejecting that based on the consensus. So,
yeah.
More than one high-profile firearms instructor that I've argued with on YouTube, their argument immediately goes to appeal to authority, but a specific, this is the consensus from these high-level instructors.
Correct.
And that's not an argument.
That's not an argument. And in fact, it's based off all of the research. It's one of the worst fucking things you could possibly do is rely on the consensus. Based on all the research, because again, it's not just Vsauce one video. It's,
right.
He, if you pause it, he shows you all of the researchers who have consistently done the same thing. Is this has been research. I mean, there's plenty of fucking research to prove that your argument of like, well, we've all agreed on this is probably getting you closer to super fucking wrong.
Right.
Than if one human was arguing with you on the internet saying, well, but what about this? Like that person's probably closer to the correct answer. Because they're seeking truth, not seeking consensus.
Right. And you're probably going to be more precise if you're like, because they're talking about guessing, right? So guessing the weight of an animal, guessing the number of jelly beans. It's kind of hard to have maybe you're a farmer and your guess is like, well, I have a bunch of ox
and I weigh them all the time.
I weigh them all the time. I have a pretty good eye for this. But generally speaking, like if you walk up to a thing of jelly beans, like you really have no idea.
Yeah.
Right. So, but if you're investigating the applied use of a firearm in a specific context, if you're using the right sources, then you're probably more likely to get to an accurate answer, even though understanding that a perfectly accurate answer is going to be hard to do.
Correct.
Yeah. So Robin Morton says, I know Colorado has really went off the rails with their so-called gun laws. Can we take a minute to talk just about the brewing shit show of Colorado Parks and Wildlife implementing this training? Because I got an email yesterday from the Pueblo County Sheriff's Department asking if I wanted to be one of the instructors. I'm like, isn't it a little late for you to be asking me this? And, Pueblo County is like a couple 100,000 people.
Yeah. Adams County asked me about when I went to go renew.
Yeah. But that was months ago, right?
Yeah.
So Pueblo County's just now hitting up their verified instructors to ask them if they want to teach this.
That's crazy.
So that means that they have approximately 2 weeks to implement this with the instructors who want to be implemented. They should have already been teaching this.
Correct.
Right? Like if you're going to be able to buy a gun on August 1st, you need to have already been teaching these classes because it takes time to apply for the
This is where all of the instructors and shady shit. Again, I wish Kyle would have been in here so I can tell him directly that that's kind of shady. I don't think they're doing it intentionally. At least I hope they're not. But you cannot take the class until the sheriff has done their part. You can't take the class until you go to the sheriff, go through the background check, which is essentially the same process as you going to go get your concealed handgun permit.
Mm-hmm.
It could still be a week, a month and a half, is depending on demand, maybe even 3 months. So there's a lot of instructors who are selling classes for like August 4th. I can't take the class until the sheriff has given me the card and given me the go ahead to
so we have a real chicken and egg problem here because we have a starting date that ultimately, like, who's beholden to that starting date? Obviously the gun stores are beholden to that date.
Yeah,
they must implement the new process after on August 1st. Are the sheriffs beholden to that date?
No. They could have. They could have. They talked about this. They could have started the process of all that shit. They could have. So a lot of the sheriffs have been waiting on theirs. But here's how it goes. Step 1, customer application. Go to the firearm safety website. Step 2, go to the sheriff's. You must provide name, background check, issue ID. So you get your background check there through a third party, but nobody said who the third party is. Fees are collected during this step. CPW $52 each. Sheriff can set their own fee. So after this, you have to get the eligibility card. So I don't know if they're going to give it to you instantly. I doubt it. Issued photo ID to your sheriff, application process. Contact your sheriff department for information regarding the name-based background check and how to submit the required documents for review. So you still have to go through that process. You cannot take the class until that part is done.
Yeah, you're not eligible to take the class.
You can't. You cannot. Sheriff review and eligibility card issuance. The sheriff reviews documentation, determines eligibility. They're not going to do it that same day. Whether approved or denied, you will receive an auto-generated email. So you still have to wait for the fucking email. If denied an EC, you will be contacted by your local sheriff. Step 4 is the course and exam, and then step 5, you can now go buy the guns. So there's a lot of instructors who are like, August 4th, I'm going to teach the class. August 3rd, it's like, how? Like, I don't know why you're selling classes for dates that people can't show up to. Like, that's, to me, that's super shady. But
all I can think of is that they basically write your name down, and then when you get your eligibility, then they say, yeah, you took the class.
And they have to submit your test.
Right. I'm not saying it'll work. I'm just saying maybe in their minds they're thinking that they'll submit it once you have your eligibility card.
It's weird how these people will do shady shit to make money, but they will not do shady shit to advance freedom and to advance.
That's a good point.
A lot of these instructors, if I were to go to them and be like, yeah, just submit it. They're like, nope, no, we can't do that.
Yeah,
I'm kind of glad we got broken into, as traumatic as you can get, an experience as you could call it. But the amount of shady shit I'd be doing, right?
Yeah.
and now they're actually watching.
Like, yeah,
I'd probably be in jail. Like
yeah. Now that there's a state issued license for the FFLs.
Oh yeah, dude. Yeah. I'd be in fucking prison right now.
So Robin says, I don't know what Lincoln County will do. I know they have been holding classes instructed by them. I assume by them you mean the sheriff's department, because I know Elbert County for a long time was doing concealed carry classes through the sheriff's department. They still do. Yeah. So I don't know if that's what you mean, if you're saying the sheriff's department is holding these classes. If that's true, that's even more fucked up.
What a fucking conflict of interest there.
Yeah. Yeah. Robin says yes.
It's a new class, new CCW, gun web. Yeah. The class is for people who want to buy certain rifles and shotguns. Handguns, you don't have to take another class for. It's just certain rifles and shotguns, basically ARs, AK style shit. That's basically it. Shotguns that are semi-automatic shotguns, some pump. I think there's like 3 or 4 handguns that are on that list.
Yeah.
One of them is fucking weird. I think an old VP 70, VP 40. I forget what the model number is.
H&K?
Yeah, HK.
Because it's blowback, direct blowback, maybe.
The Desert Eagle, is on there.
I like how they have a list of like every firearm known to man that could possibly fall under that under these designations, but then it says this is not a comprehensive list. This is just a guide for.
It's crazy. It's crazy. And then there's some bolt actions on there too.
What?
Which is fucking crazy. Yeah, if you go through that list, there's like 1 or 2 bolt actions. I don't know what the fuck they're thinking about.
Are they 50 cal?
Well, that wouldn't matter.
Didn't they ban 50 cal?
Did they?
I thought they did.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's been so confusing that it's so difficult to keep up with all that. So yeah, those are the people who need the classes. People who starting August 1st want to purchase certain ARs. This is how they get around it's not a ban. You can still buy them. You just have to go through these steps. And it's not like Chicago's or Illinois' FOID card, because those are for all firearms, if I'm not mistaken. Here in Colorado, it's only for essentially long guns, and only certain long guns.
Yeah. Good evening, Joseph. Sorry I didn't say hi earlier. So art by FE, that must be Seki, because she said those hoodlums did us a favor.
I think that's Letitia.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I talked about this in my last class at length because it came up. You cannot follow these laws. I don't mean like it's impossible to go through the steps. I mean, it's impossible for you to keep up with all of this stuff.
Yeah.
And you shouldn't, or maybe we were talking about it on the last podcast. It shouldn't be that way. It shouldn't be at a level where you can't understand the law and the law is so complex that you can't follow from one step to the next.
Yeah, at some point, I think somebody needs to get hemmed up and argue that. Like, it's just impossible.
Oh, wait, I was talking to somebody else about this because I remember the context. So the accessibility standards, you build websites, you understand accessibility standards.
Yep.
What is the accessibility standard for the reading level for websites?
It depends on who you ask, but usually about third grade reading level. Like
3rd grade to 5th grade.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it depends on who you ask. 5th grade is usually the higher one.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of standards now that are reducing that to a 3rd grade level.
Right.
Where borderline fucking retarded.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm pretty sure all 3rd graders are like certifiably retarded. I mean, for their age level, they're fine. But if you were like as smart as a 3rd grader, actually, that's not what it is, though. It's not about intelligence; it's about reading level. Because some people just don't read very well, even though they're not retarded.
Correct.
So this falls under a couple different things. It falls under the Americans with Disabilities Act, and it also falls under just general commerce. If you want to make money, you need to be able to make sure that people can read your website.
Yeah.
So, but we call them.
And even if you make it at a 3rd grade reading level, and you fucking have you seen our shit lately?
What do you mean?
Have you seen? I didn't mean to interrupt you because
yeah.
Nice thought. Like, have you seen our shit? Like, I hate it, but I know it's what it needs to be.
Is it like say on there? So you want a gun, hey?
Like it's basically TikTok in words. Because people are so stupid and they still don't read it. They still don't read it. Like like it's very animated and it's very like look at icons and favicons and fucking all that shit.
Yeah.
And it's very simple sentences and people are still like, I don't know what that means. I had one lady email me, was like, hey, is the CCW class the CCW class? That was her question. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah. So, what was I saying about this though?
American with Disabilities Act.
Oh yeah. Americans with Disability Act and just general standardization of comprehension. However, you go read a law that's being passed and affects people's freedom, and it isn't even just the complexity of it, the way a law was written when they removed preemption in Colorado and said that individual jurisdictions could create their own concealed carry laws. There's 336 jurisdictions in this state. And if you travel to Canyon City from Broomfield, you need to know what Canyon City's laws are for carrying a gun in Canyon City.
And you're just going through it. Like
so traveling through is fine. Like if you're staying in the car and the gun stays in the car and all that stuff. But if you were to get out, you need to be aware. Like in Boulder, right? You can't carry in a park in Boulder. In Denver, you can't carry on property owned.
Let alone it still prohibits open carry, right?
Springs?
Yeah.
No, Springs open carry is legal.
I thought because remember that one of our gay homies, he got hemmed up at that.
But he sued and he won.
Oh, and that's when it got.
Yeah. Okay. So There was no open carry ban. There was a confusion about exactly where he was open carrying and whether it was permitted in that specific area.
But it was a restriction, not a prohibition.
Right. Yeah. But I mean, this is impossible considering the fact that you're being criminally being held criminally liable for doing something that's legal in one area and not legal in another.
Yeah.
Like that's ridiculous.
Well, here's what I can say. If you use gun website's address in Arizona and you become a resident part-time, right, for business in Arizona, and you buy a car in Arizona and you register it in Arizona, you can now basically go buy guns in Arizona legally, because you are technically a part-time resident there.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to transfer over your driver's license or anything like that. I'm just here for an extended period, 1 month for work. I need a car in Arizona. It needs to have Arizona license plates, the whole nine. I need an apartment there. There is ways for you to buy these guns in Arizona, and you would be a legal Arizona resident. Because as an FFL, proof of ID or proof of residency that could just be the car registration. Shit, in Colorado, many times we were just like, go get a fucking fishing license really quick, and that's an acceptable form of ID, just your fishing license.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden, I live in this place with a fishing license, and I am legally buying the gun, and I can transfer one gun from one state to another state. This is my Arizona AR-15. I just brought it to Colorado while I'm here.
Yeah.
There's so many gray areas where it's just like, that's a lot easier, in my opinion, than fucking going to go
in this process.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Do you know how much a fishing license costs in 2026 in Colorado?
$16?
$57.
Oh, that's the annual one.
The annual.
That's the annual. Yeah. The day pass is $16.
Dude, I have bought a fishing license every year and never once encountered a game warden.
I don't think I've been asked for it. Yeah, I don't think I've ever been asked for my fishing license.
Hundreds of dollars. And by the way, I haven't caught any fish. So
you suck too?
I suck so bad at fishing. Texas SKS then, because that's where I got it. So obviously this particular law does not go into effect until next week sometime. So right now, this Texas AK or SKS is a Colorado SKS. It doesn't matter. But once the law goes into effect, I mean, it's going to be, and just in case anybody's listening and doesn't know this, all guns that you currently own for now are grandfathered in under this law. So you don't have to do anything to own these guns. You just have to do something to buy new ones after August 1st. However, I assume that within a couple years, there will be an effort to register all the firearms, and then we'll have more conversations.
Well, if there's a super majority this year, which I anticipate there will be a super majority in Colorado this year, it's easy. Fucking, they don't need anything.
Mm-hmm.
They don't already need Republican support, or pro-gun support is the better way of saying, because there's a few Democrats here in the state of Colorado that consistently are to a quasi supporters. So I can't just say Republican or Democrat. There's a few, and that's why a lot of wild shit has not passed, because those gun owning Democrats are like, no, this is batshit crazy. So anyways, but if they have a super majority, then it fucking doesn't matter. And the way this state's going, that super majority seems pretty fucking realistic this year.
Yeah, and I don't really, people are like, we need to get out and vote. And I'm like, I don't see that happening, and I don't see that working.
It has fucking decades.
Yeah. So we need recalls. That's what we need.
Recalls.
We need recalls, because that worked. We know it worked in the past Will it work in the future? There's only one way to find out. But
there's this thing that worked in 1776.
Yeah.
Fucking work. I wish I wasn't a little bitch. Well, I take that back. I wish society wasn't a little bitch.
Well, those who are afraid to die never deserve to live in the first place.
Yeah.
And maybe you could expand that to say don't deserve to live as free people.
And we don't deserve it at this point in 2026.
No,
we don't deserve freedom.
No,
nah, we don't deserve it. When you have instructors and people lining up to obey this law, knowing that they can fight it and knowing that there is a way to be like, fuck you, but they like, yeah, we don't deserve it. We don't fucking deserve it. It's weird how people don't think about future. I always think about future me.
Mm-hmm.
I very rarely think about me right now. Very rarely. Sometimes I do, but I'm always thinking about future me. And future me has to think about how I fucked up and I had kids. And then if they end up fucking up and having kids, the shit that we're going to leave them is garbage. I would rather be broke right now and be principled to a certain degree. There's some shit that I have to be aware of and have a certain level of integrity and say, I love freedom at all cost. I love freedom at all cost. At all cost. It sucks, but I'd rather be poor than not have that integrity. But these people are like, I love freedom, but I'd rather my kids not have freedom and have money, but have money. And not, like, money's more important than freedom. Like, you don't deserve it. Not even a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, we, as other people much smarter than me have said in the past, we have the government we deserve.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So
for sure.
Especially that hits me, especially when people will complain endlessly. But then when I ask, what have they done? The answer is either I haven't done anything or I shouldn't have to do anything. So,
any ideas on how this will pan out? Will this mobilize pro-rights folks in Colorado to remove bad politicians, or the politicians will take even more, or something else?
Who knows? Who knows? One thing that does tend to be true, I think, is that once things get really bad, people, hopefully the right people will start to get sick of it and do something about it. And it has happened before, so there's no reason to think it couldn't happen again.
So there's this weird thing that's going on in Colorado, and this is me putting very little thought behind it. So I'm probably not even going to agree with me once we end this podcast, but this is just the thought that's coming out right now. If people would stop being so political, people have said that before, and realize that the commies want basically what the conservatives want, just slightly different. And they're arguing about those slight differences. I don't consider myself Republican or Democrat or anything like that. I hate them both. But Republicans love socialism. It's just a different type of socialism. So to say that Republicans don't want socialism is hot garbage. They just want a different type of socialism. Democrats, especially far left Democrats, love socialism as we know it, by like as we would consider socialism. They love that shit, but it's the same shit. Two different types of socialism. If they would just agree that they both want socialism, different socialism, but socialism nonetheless, I think we could get to a point where we're like, but we still want freedom. Because if you look at both sides, we all hate flock cameras. Very few people are like, I love this shit. Like, I fucking love TSA touching my balls every single time.
Lonely people.
Yeah. Very few people can you get and be like,
thank you for touching my balls.
Very few people can you get to say they love the fact that we're in a surveillance state. Like very few fucking humans. The problem is that, well, I can vote for the person who wants the freedom, except they're pro-abortion or they're anti-abortion or whatever, and it's just like, well, now you're talking about an individual thing or a medical thing, and we can hate it, we can love it. I don't give a fuck where you're at with that shit. I know where I'm at with that shit. But you start disagreeing about the shit that really doesn't affect the grand scheme of things. Guns doesn't affect the grand scheme of things. Abortion doesn't really affect the grand scheme of things. We it's a moral, ethical thing for sure, 100%. And again, I'm not going to say my position on it, but that's the problem with the freedom movement in Colorado is they're the infighting of the shit that doesn't affect freedom to a certain degree. See, I'm already disagreeing with me.
Yeah, well, yeah, I don't know what to say about that. I mean, I think that the simplest solution as far as guns go in the state of Colorado is to form a coalition of gun rights supporting people to recall the weakest in the legislature once a gun vote happens.
Yeah.
And you tell the people on the right that we get to keep our gun rights. And you tell the people on the left that they're going to reelect another Democrat. We're not replacing the party seats. We're getting rid of the people in the legislature who are willing to vote or who are willing to take away your gun rights. To me, that's the simplest path. So we had what's his name from Better Way 2A.
Yeah.
And we talked about, various issues. And I think we talked about this issue. And if you can promise both sides that they're going to get something significant that they want, then why wouldn't they be able to work together just to accomplish that one single task of recalling the politician?
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know.
And I think if you chop a few heads off, every 5 or 6 years, we wouldn't be having this conversation.
Yeah. So the problem with the pro-gun politicians, though, is they're also
we don't need pro-gun politicians. We just need politicians who are not willing to get recalled to vote for more gun control.
But see, here's the problem with the singular. It's you have a lot of. This is the fucking double-edged sword. There's a lot of pro-gun politicians that we would get in potentially who are okay with the surveillance state.
Mm-hmm.
You've seen that with
you can't have it all.
Yeah, that's the problem is,
and I think honestly that most gun owners would rather have their guns and flock cameras than no flock cameras and no guns.
See, I would rather just have freedom.
Right. I'm not saying you, I'm saying most.
Yeah.
Most gun owners, if we say, no, you get to keep all your guns. You can buy a machine gun if you want to. You can buy a tank if you want to, but there's going to be flock cameras everywhere. They'd be like, okay.
That's gross, dude.
Yeah, all stick, no carrot. All stick, no carrot for the politicians, but stick and carrot for the coalition of people organizing recalls. The stick is your gun rights are going away. The carrot is you get to keep your gun rights and nothing really politically changes in this state except for the gun question.
Yeah. This is where my one single issue voting, it kind of kicks me in the ass. It's just well, we have flock cameras, but
yeah. However, you can cut a flock camera down.
Oh, dude, I'm all for that. Like I get a fucking boner when people fucking break those bitches. Like you fucking move, Jerry.
Does a little bit of you feel like a bitch for not being the one on camera doing it? Yeah,
sure, 100%. I feel impotent. I feel fucking. I feel like a fucking loser when somebody out there is fucking destroying a flock camera and it wasn't me. Like,
yeah,
for sure, 100%.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we're seeing, I mean, I have, they took it down because of construction, but I'm sure they're going to put it back up again. There's one pretty close to my house. So actually there probably is two, right? There's always one pointing one direction, one pointing the other direction. So, you know, if I wanted to study one closely and learn about it, but yeah, to answer Gun Website's question, I think that's the only reasonable chance of success, and I don't see it happening. So from a socialist point of view, from a communist point of view, gun rights is a collective right of the worker, of the working class, to be able to resist the state, to resist the non-communist state. So once the communist state is in power, the gun rights go away. So that's a fundamental difference between the individual right and the collective right. However, I don't really think that there's any chance that we're going to install a communist state in this country.
Yeah.
So I'll take the ally that is arguing for gun rights, even if I fundamentally disagree with their ultimate end of what that right looks like, because we're not going to get there. And if we do get there, we got bigger problems that, you know, that's why I bought all the guns.
Yeah.
Not really. I'd probably be like hiding. You know what happens to people who get in gunfights?
They die.
They die. So flock cameras are a distraction. They will be a memory in a few years. I have that same belief. I have that same inkling that we're being gamed somehow with this whole flock camera thing.
But what's the game?
It's not the camera, it's the technology. It's not Flock as a company, it's the camera, it's the technology that is being developed with these cameras. So let's say you have 1 million cameras, or right now we're at approximately 100,000 cameras in this country, Flock cameras. All that is R&D for the software that runs those cameras, and maybe the hardware itself on how the cameras work.
You could just do the technology with cell phone companies. Like, you don't need your own.
It's not the same. You need, I think it's a different requirement. You have stationary cameras everywhere that all feed into a single database using AI and all that stuff.
This is where I disagree, because you could just link up with Ring, or you can link up with.
No, they've already done that though.
Yeah.
So, but Ring cameras, you don't get to choose where a Ring camera is. You get to choose where you put the Flock cameras. So like Ring cameras would have a really hard time tracking license plates. But Flock cameras are optimized for license plate capture.
Yeah.
So yeah, phones are always the main event, but data is data. The more we get, the better the development of data processing and the use of that data is.
Right.
So yeah, your phones are spying on you like crazy. They have been for a long time. There's no denying that.
Dude, and now that Linux is becoming more mainstream, it's only fucking Totovar, what the fuck is his name? He talks about how they come at him all the fucking time. He's not part of Linux anymore, but that they came to him all the time for backdoor fucking shit, and they almost fucking hacked it. They caught it somehow, some way, but like, it's even that's pretty fucking vulnerable.
Everything's vulnerable.
Yeah.
The one of the key things that makes you less vulnerable is to be a smaller target. So as Linux becomes more mainstream, the target gets bigger, the exploits get gone after. So I was listening to a tech podcast where they were talking about some open source app got exploited pretty hardcore, really, really nasty exploit on an open source app. And part of the reason is because the app was basically neglected. So there were no security updates happening on the app, even though it was widely used or something like that. The system breaks down at some point. It always does.
Dude, have you watched that video of how Unix was almost fucking hacked? Basically, every server is on Unix, and this one weirdo fucking pretended to be a part of the team and found the exploit and was like fucking 3 steps away or 2 steps away from gaining full control, controlling every fucking server in the world, not just the US, like in the fucking world.
That would have been wild, man.
And then somebody decided to be like, this doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Looked into it, like, this motherfucker. But he had already, he was already injecting shit in there.
Yeah. Yeah.
There was a small difference in speed when the code was talking to each other.
I think I heard about this. Yeah. Yeah, I did hear about this because I was really interested. They were talking about like this is basically the lesson from the Challenger, which is don't ignore little things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was days from controlling every fucking server.
Yeah. So Gun Website says they can ID everyone with an electronic signature from all our devices. Cameras on a pole just give people something to point at and hate. Yes, and also no. There are pieces of data that you can get from flock cameras that are more convenient, more fast, I guess, and also less sticky when it comes to the Fourth Amendment at this time than you have with phones. So it's like saying I could catch 60% of the fish in the ocean, but I'd like to catch 100%.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go ahead and set up these other nets that these nets don't necessarily do a great job of catching everything. So let me create some new nets. The thing about the flock cameras, though, that's different than your phone is they look like little evil robots.
Yeah.
Your phone has all these colorful images on it. It's got your picture on there, Yeah. Go to a flock camera. It literally looks like an evil robot from Futurama or Star Wars or something like that. So, yeah, of course, they're easy to hate. But yeah, I mean, data's data. They're getting that. I mean, Amazon created a mesh network out of their Ring cameras, and people have these spy devices in their houses with their Alexas and their Google Assistants, and people are telling AI their most deepest, darkest secrets. And yeah, so we're not a very if you offer us a couple brownies, like we're not that great at acting in our own best interest.
So, and I'm guilty of it as well. Like I just recently I stopped wanting ads that were specific for me. It is annoying to have ads that have not, like, what the fuck am I going to do with the fucking actual douche? Like I don't need Summer's Eve. Like I want shit that I'm looking for. So like that's very convenient to see ads that you want.
In a way, isn't that still targeted towards you?
The Summer's Eve?
Yeah.
Somebody in your life needs this.
Somebody in your life needs it, or enough people have been calling you a douche that,
or I've been calling enough people.
Yeah. Yeah, you have to select a certain level of inconvenience in the modern age to even remotely separate yourself from this surveillance state. I would call it a surveillance culture at this point. And really, like, you could talk about your guns all day long, but this is how your freedom is getting taken from you. I heard somebody say, what if there were flock cameras during COVID when there were restrictions on, like, when they were telling you to stay home? Like, that would have changed the game a little bit.
Well, they kind of had the apps that would fucking geolocate you, and it wasn't the same, but it would basically quarantine you or send people to quarantine you if they knew you're hanging out with the people that caught the COVID.
Oh, the contact tracing.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you didn't have to install that.
No. Oh, did they fucking bug the shit out of you to fucking install that shit though?
Yeah.
Shit got annoying. But I don't know. I don't even know if we're a gun podcast anymore.
Well, to tie it back is the idea that like my freedom arises from my firearms. And it's like, okay, to some degree, if you can't fight back, you are not capable of being free. However, 99.9% of your life is affected by what's going on digitally, while the gun has nothing to do with that digital, interaction. So like you're focused on, oh, this is my freedom. And it's like, nah, not really. Not at this point.
Oh no, the Afghans did pretty well with just fucking bottle rockets.
Well, what I'm saying is like you are so like the Afghans don't have bank accounts. The Afghans don't have.
That's what I mean. It's just like, and they win almost every single fucking time.
Yeah. Because they don't have bank accounts.
They ain't got shit, man.
Yeah.
They ain't got shit. Fucking, they keep toppling.
You know what they keep doing is having kids.
They keep fucking.
See, we can't have freedom if we don't have kids. Because you got to make people to replace the ones that get capped.
You just made me hate freedom.
Congratulations, I hate freedom now. Yeah, we don't know who we are. We don't know what we want. We don't know what's good for us. So,
and this is the problem with gun training. This is the problem with gun laws. This is the problem with all that shit. I see the problem that's happening here in the state of Colorado between Colorado State Shooters Association, Shooting Association, and RMGO, and like it's again collectively we're just retarded.
Yeah,
collectively we just absolutely suck because we.
Oh, here's an idea.
Go for it.
Okay, so the idea with the experiment that you referenced, showed the video for, is if we isolate ourselves and we problem solve, and then we take the median of the solutions, we're more likely to get to the right answer. If we work together, we're more likely to get to the wrong answer. Well, what does social media do? It puts us all together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and social media.
So the more connected we are, the further we get from the solution.
It's weird. It's a weird paradox. It's this really weird paradox of we are inherently a social species. We kind of like to talk to each other. We kind of like to interact with each other, but that ultimately is our fucking demise. We've seen it in many circumstances where you drink the Kool-Aid and you fucking die, but everybody was drinking the Kool-Aid. Or there's a comet, so we're gonna fucking commit suicide and give ourselves as a sacrifice.
Some people didn't drink the Kool-Aid. They were chased down and injected with cyanide. So once this group gets big enough, you can't escape it. Even if you're the one to stand up and be like, hey, maybe we shouldn't be drinking this. Got you.
Well, for sure, that's government already. And this is where, man, I hate to be, because you have to take the fight where the fight is. You have to fight where the fight is. But I see that a lot is just, fuck, I'm the one being chased down with cyanide right now. Everybody says, fuck, I'm just going to leave Colorado. It's fucking worthless. I'm not going to live in Colorado. And financially, I feel that way. Financially, I'm like, it's fucking rough in Colorado. It's rough. Students don't donate enough. Shit is fucking rough. But at the same time, it's just like, then you keep running and then you're nowhere. But I do feel that way, like both in the U.S. and in Colorado, where it's just, I didn't want to drink the Kool-Aid. But if you don't drink the Kool-Aid, then you're the dumbass that doesn't want to drink the Kool-Aid, and you're fucked either way.
Yeah.
Because you're going to get cyanide.
Always look on the bright side of life. Da-dum, 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 da-dum.
You see that billboard? That made me remember that. Have you seen that billboard? It's Dolly Parton that says, always see the good in people. I was like, okay, what about Hitler? Like, what if they told you Hitler had a nice side, good art? His art was pretty good.
Was it? I've never seen his art.
It was all right. It was above average. But like people say some stupid shit, like, "Oh, we see the good in people." I was like,
yeah.
Manson, like, what the fuck good are you gonna see in Manson or fucking child rapist? I don't know. That song just made me remember the dumb just to say it.
Yeah, you can say that if you haven't met any monsters.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. I've met some humans where it's like, you need to die. You need to die.
What were any other topics that you had written down?
I had one, but I fucking forgot it. We kind of talked about it anyways. It was a let me see if I could pull it up. It's a study that has existed for quite some time, and let me see if I can find it. Probably not. Yeah, it's been a while since we did a podcast, and I heard a neuroscientist talk about, they were talking about soccer, and they were talking about the idea of coaches who are constantly keeping their players at a high stress level.
Mm-hmm.
Always stress. You're stereotypical, always yelling. You're
drill sergeant type coach.
Yeah, their teams historically don't do all that well. They don't, the athletes don't perform that awesomely.
Mm-hmm.
Usually you need the players who are really good athletes, high whatever, testosterone, all that shit. And the coach, not so much that way, because the continued stress, it creates a pattern in these athletes, and then when they actually play, that pattern isn't met, so they can't.
So it's not about good or bad, like the coach is like evil or good. It's training out of context, a slight shift in context.
Yeah, this is why I wanted to look it up, but kind of. I don't fucking remember where the fuck I had that shit anymore. Yeah, it doesn't look like I can. Yeah, I don't have it anymore. If I find it, I'll bring it up again. But it was university studies. It was. Yeah, I can't find it. That sucks.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. I had some coaches like that, but generally speaking, we did get a lot. Like I recognize these coaches as some of the better coaches that I had as far as developing the team and developing the individuals on the team. But I don't know if it quite rises to the level of what you're talking about. You know, like, were these just stricter coaches? Were they more aggressive, but not quite reaching that level of like creating existential dread in their players? So
here it is. We'll have to look it up. This is NIH public access. It's a manuscript. It was written by, I'm assuming, Dr. Cheryl D. Conrad, Department of Psychology, Arizona State University. It's called Chronic Stress-Induced Hippocampal Vulnerability. So if we look that shit up, I'm sure we'll be able to
This is something you kind of touched on in your first documentary, right?
A little bit. Yeah.
At the end?
Yeah, a little bit is this idea that if you're constantly in this point of stress, your hippocampus, your memory is always on alert. Your amygdala is always on alert. You're always at this really high stress level. And because you're really at this high stress level, when life happens, you don't perform correctly. It's the wrong information is being sent. Because again, your brain is developing a pattern. It's creating its own reality of what's about to happen, and when it doesn't happen, your performance suffers. Like it's not, you don't respond as like
your responses are developed out of context.
Correct. Let me Google this shit really quick so we can talk about this better. I don't know what the fuck you had.
Actually, I got distracted by something called work, and I failed to develop my ideas. But it's pretty simple. It's a pretty simple context to say that neurologically your brain develops highways. And it develops those highways based on stimulus response patterns. So if the stimulus is the wrong stimulus, and the response is the wrong response, then you can't really expect peak performance, especially, but even reasonably good performance when you change the stimulus or the response or both.
So I'm looking it up, and I am cheating, and I'm asking the homie ChatGPT. So take this for what it's worth, just because I'm trying to be quick about it, and we're here on the fly. Chronic stress-induced hippocampal vulnerability means the hippocampus is heavily involved in forming and retrieving memories, recognizing context, which is what you're talking about. What is happening, where, and under what circumstances, distinguishing a current threat from something merely resembling a past threat, learning relationships between cues, actions, and outcomes, helping regulate the body's stress response system. It has a high concentration of receptors of stress hormones, particularly in glucose, whatever the fuck. Cortisol that makes it responsive to stress, but also comparatively vulnerable when stress remains elevated and repeatedly dysregulated. Vulnerability does not necessarily mean that stress rapidly kills hippocampal neurons. Much of the research describes functional and structural remodeling, including dendritis retracting or becoming less complex, synaptic connections changing, reduced generation and maturing of new neurons in animal models, impaired synaptic plasticity, the brain's ability to strengthen useful connections, poor contextual and spatial memory. So when you're in this continued high level of stress, and obviously the angle for us would be is the people who believe that they should be training under stress constantly. Is and for me it was that last part is impaired synaptic plasticity, the brain's ability to strengthen useful connections, poor contextual and spatial memory, which is kind of what you were talking about, is this idea that I need to train for stress to be better under stress by many studies suggests that it's actually the opposite. The more stress you apply with training, there is a potential that in a real moment of stress or trauma, you could actually perform less or worse because there's less plasticity in the way your brain is communicating and the time it takes for you to communicate all of that information.
That's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I mean, I'm kind of trying to think this through. To think that, okay, so one of the stresses that we have in our classes is adding complexity.
So let me say this. Let me finish this because I think this will give you a little bit of context.
Okay.
Think of it. This is again ChatGPT. We should question it because it is ChatGPT and that motherfucker. But right now,
we should question a university study too. To be honest,
yeah, for sure, 100%. Except this study has been performed many times. So, but yeah, 100%. The only reason I'm still guiding to it is because ChatGPT. I only asked it to organize the thoughts, not to. So, anyways, think of it less as the hippocampus is destroyed, as more as the brain reallocates resources for prolonged survival mode, making flexible contextual thinking less reliable.
Okay, so here you have your classic like rageaholic, right?
Yeah.
Right. Everything that doesn't go their way results in a over amplified stress response.
Yeah, you just fucking said wives. Acute stress and chronic stress are different, and I think that's the problem. Is we're not talking about acute stress, something that happens, and I'm stressed out because of this moment right now. This is the chronic stress, and I think this is where the sports psychologist was talking about this idea of like if you have a coach who's constantly stressing you out to supposedly make you better, like there's a difference between a coach who's pushing you to be better and a coach who's stressing the shit out of you. Now it turns into that chronic stress. Moderate acute stress may increase alertness, energy, availability, attention to important information, consolidation of emotionally significant memories. But stress follows something resembling an invert U relationship, too little arousal, disengagement or weak attention, moderate arousal, potentially improved performance, excessive arousal, degraded judgment, recall, attention, and flexibility.
So you're looking for the sweet spot.
Yeah.
You're looking for the sweet spot in developing, and you're looking for the sweet spot in performing.
Well, in our particular context, we don't know what performance means because we don't know.
Right, but we say like performing would be to execute the skill in context.
Yeah.
Right. So we talk about like this has been discussed before, where we've talked about your body doesn't get worse at protecting itself. Right. Or at least like that's the general idea. How would we have survived as a species if our response to a threatening stimulus was to get worse at everything we do?
Yeah.
So, in fact, the evidence shows that if a neural pathway is established and properly stimulated, in fact, because of the sympathetic nervous system, that process can speed up. You can get faster, you can get better, you can get stronger in the moment. But you can also get to a point where you are overwhelmed by the stimulus and go into, for lack of a better word, condition black, where you are now non-functioning. Your brain has essentially just been completely overloaded. And we call that the freeze response, but I'm with you. I don't really believe in the concept of the freeze response. I believe in the concept of the figure out what to do next response. But the brain hits a point where it becomes overwhelmed and cannot identify the thing that they need to do next. Or the only thing that they can identify to do next is to run or to fall, because we have fight, flight, freeze, fawn, flop, or, whatever. And that, it sounds like that's kind of like that where if you're overstimulated to the point of hitting that part, you're not going to be able to perform.
Yeah, well, there is enough evidence to suggest that our brain is already creating our own reality. And like I think almost everybody, you could call that perception, you could call that whatever, but your brain is creating a reality, a fucking reality for you based off of different patterns. And this is where shit like cops and people who are The tactidouches who like wear the vest and like always fucking and then we got to do fucking CQBs and fucking roll around in the ground. It is consistent with what we see with those type of humans. Not every cop is like this, but you will see a lot of cops who in the moment said, well, I thought that was a gun, and it's because they're constantly in that. So their pattern only says gun.
Mm-hmm.
Only says gun. And in the moment, you can believe them. They thought that was a gun. But another cop would have been like, no, like I processed the information. I was able to see that it wasn't a gun, so I didn't shoot. We see this a lot where the cop's like, what the fuck just happened? But the cop is like, super amped and like, fucking, I'm manly and I got all testosterone and I sit with my back to the wall so I can see everything. And like, it's generally that human who has very poor judgment in what's about to happen next because their reality is everything's a threat. So you also have that side of it of everything is a threat based off of the patterns that I've created.
And we meet these people in classes all the time.
All the fucking time.
And a lot of times they're women who have, and I'm just making a judgment here, strike me as the type of people who have lived under existential threat for a long time. Right. So like maybe a guy seems like maybe they create this world for themselves, but maybe the woman is more likely to have actually lived this world.
Yeah.
So they see a threat everywhere because that's what life was like for them. You know, kind of that battered person type response.
Correct.
Whatever the cause of it, the frustrating thing with dealing with this is every solution to a problem is violence.
For them.
You know, like you're like, okay, so in this, you know, in this context, what we're talking about is blah, blah, blah. And they're like, well, I'll just shoot him. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, A, you're probably not going to do that. B, like that's a single solution to a problem that may have many reasonable solutions.
Correct.
But that it destroys that plasticity to creatively review a problem and solve that problem. And that's part of the dynamic critical incident is we have to be flexible to respond to what is actually happening, not to what we think is going to happen next.
Correct.
So this chronic stress kind of, it sounds like just like doesn't destroy, reallocates resources away from that neuroplasticity into a more regimented response.
Correct. So here's one the potential training problem. Under stress, people tend to rely more heavily on responses that are familiar, highly rehearsed, simple, rapidly triggered, reinforced by past success. Therefore, repeatedly practicing signal, draw, shoot quickly may produce an excellent response to that particular training structure. The concern is not the hearing a timer magically cause unlawful shooting. The concern is that training can devote enormous repetition to execution after a presumed decision, while devoting very little repetition to identifying what the stimulus actually is, deciding whether force is needed, withholding fire, recognizing surrender or disengagement, changing the response when the circumstances change, so on and so forth. Yeah. So
we've seen this when we played around with timers. People get stressed out.
Yeah.
They get stressed out about the timer and the performance standard.
Yeah, and then here's the other thing. Then it becomes the what is it? The good all laws. I forget. Good wings law. But when a measure becomes the target, it ceases to become to be a good measure. So now the measure is the target is
the measurement, not the action.
Correct.
Yeah.
And now I'm trying to reach that, but again, when a measure becomes a target, it ceases to be a good measure. Now you're only measuring off of that target. My target is to be 1 second. It's not to process information.
Mm-hmm.
As long as I reach that under 1 second draw, that's all that matters to me. which is the wrong type of training. And again, you're hyper fixating on one singular thing instead of everything else. So again, the stress is under stress. I'm sorry. Now, as long as I beat the goal of sub 1 second, I'm gonna win.
Yeah,
that's how I think I win, is sub 1 second draw or whatever it is. That's just the easy, low hanging fruit.
Right. So we talk about this in the class, like loading your magazines inconsistently, and we talk about how the brain develops very subtle pattern recognition. So if you all we want the gun to tell you when it's loaded, we don't want you to count. But even if you didn't count, but it was always the same number of rounds, you would start anticipating when the gun is going to go empty. And it wouldn't take you very long to do it.
Correct.
Right? So one of the arguments for the timer is that you need to have some idea of a baseline of how long it takes you to access and use your gun. But incredibly, this freaking computer in our heads is really good at doing that without us even knowing.
And in fact, this really weird computer is almost better without you hyperfixating on that one particular thing.
Right. More reliable.
Which is weird because you're accomplishing the opposite of what you think you're accomplishing.
Right. And so, so it is the opposite. So that plasticity, I'm trying to put things together here. The plasticity of the brain to problem solve even under stress also needs to understand what I think I'm capable of in this moment based on the right data. Do I think I can access my gun?
Yeah.
And that's even if we have the wherewithal to even think that through, right? The counter ambush is like, are we creating a system where I can reliably do this even if I can't think about it?
Yeah.
Right. So we're saying like, oh, you need to be able to measure your draw and draw to first shot so that you know how much time you have in the moment. Your implicit perceptions about what's going on in the moment are a much more reliable source for you if you've trained correctly than what you think a timer allows you to measure.
Well, this is why we encourage stimulus response pattern instead of meet some magical fucking target.
Mm-hmm.
How about if something happens, you have a response to it?
Mm-hmm.
Like that is going to be better.
Yeah.
Quick question from gun websites, might be off topic. Question: what percent of a good CCW class should be devoted to avoiding confrontation? So here's my take on it. It's not a very popular take, especially when you sit around fucking public health experts and you tell them this. But 0 in a self-defense class, concealed carry class, should be devoted to how to avoid confrontations, because the reason people are there is to learn how to defend themselves. I think those are two separate classes. You do mention, hey, if you fight for a TV, fight for a car, you're an idiot. But so there is an implied, you imply that you should avoid fights as much as you can, but that's just like for me anyways, a quick little mention, especially if it comes up. But I don't think a class should explicitly, a self-defense class, which is a concealed carry class, in my opinion, should explicitly devote time to teaching humans how to avoid conflict.
Yeah, so I guess I would say gun websites.
Uh-oh, he muted himself.
Rotation.
Hold on, you muted yourself?
I did not.
Yeah.
I didn't touch anything. I touched nothing. My fingers were up here. Maybe I did.
And anyway, start over.
Okay, so if gun websites, you should clarify if you mean should be devoted to how to avoid confrontations or why you should avoid confrontations.
That's a good one. Yeah.
Because I do talk about why you should avoid confrontations, but I talk about it in the general concept of balance of risk and benefit.
Yeah.
The gun has the benefit of protecting, but the risk is that you could lose everything in order to do that.
Yeah. That's
so
fair.
I can't, I try to say this in every class. I can't tell you what's valuable to you. I can't tell you that your car is not worth your life.
It isn't,
but you better know that you're risking your life when you get involved in an armed conflict with people. And and I am very explicit when I tell people we are not going to learn how to de-escalate in this class. Yeah. Pulling out a gun and shooting at somebody is the opposite of de-escalation.
You're here because de-escalation didn't work.
Right.
Or you did a shitty job at it.
Yeah. So is de-escalation training important? Yeah. But the chances you're going to get good contextual de-escalation training is very, very, very low. What works better is living as a human being and having the attitude that you're not going to like take on unnecessary conflict. Verbal judo. I think that Craig Douglas does a really good job of explaining verbal judo and demonstrating verbal judo and helping people learn the value of verbal judo. But the words themselves, they have to come from you.
Yeah.
It has to be something that comes out of you in that moment at that time.
And when Craig Douglas does it, and correct me if I'm wrong, because you've been to one of his classes, I haven't. When Craig Douglas talks about it, he's saying not to de-escalate, but more so to get the advantage over.
Yeah, to get the advantage.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the advantage is either creating space or closing space. Cool. And you should avoid closing space unless you have to. But then if you have to, it's a good idea to be good at it.
Correct.
And the bad guy is trying to do the same thing. The bad guy wants to close space in order to surprise you, like to take advantage of reaction time. So again, it's more about the why on the verbal judo than exactly on the how of the verbal judo. Now, some of it he talks about using your hands to deflect your intentions, but like giving people magic words is a bad idea.
So I always think about it every time I watch sports. I think about that. I think rugby is the only one where I'm like, I think they figured it out in rugby. But every other sport, there's a foul and there's a bunch of whiny little bitches running up to the ref. It's like, but the thing and you should really like. I've never once seen a ref be like, oh yeah, let me change my mind.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right. I fucked up. You're right. I'm wrong. Let me fucking do this. Let me reverse the fucking thing. Like it's never happened. I think in rugby, it's just like the captain goes up and like, hey, how was it a foul? It wasn't like, why was it a foul or you're a piece of shit? Like there's a lot of respect of like, but help me understand why it was a foul so we don't do it next time. Or if you watch rugby, I think they got it pretty down.
I never paid attention to that with rugby. It's always been for me most like baseball and soccer.
Yeah. And
So,
NFL and basketball and all that shit. But if you watch rugby, it's almost always the captain or somebody comes and yells at the ref, and the ref's like, "You're not the captain, captain," and I'll have a conversation with your captain. And then here comes the captain, like, "Hey, what the fuck happened? Like this happened. Like, okay, I'll let them know."
Yeah,
and that's it. Like that was the fucking end of it.
Yeah.
For that same reason, it's like
funny enough, it's like the most violent sport.
yeah.
Actually, I might be wrong about this, but it seems like it's more like that in hockey as well.
I haven't seen enough of hockey. Let me say this better. I haven't seen enough fouls called in hockey to know. So
yeah.
I've never even thought about it.
I can tell you from my limited experience, you don't see the arguing with the ref that you see in baseball and football.
Yeah.
And soccer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because again, those words, that person already made up their mind.
Mm-hmm.
Like they already made up their mind.
Yeah. So Gun Website says, thinking like verbal judo, implications of action, court, costs, etc., to discourage the gung-ho types and to empower those who are seeking levels of force. So the way that I explain this in the class is that your decision to use violence belongs to you and you alone, but the consequences can go pretty far.
Yeah.
So the consequences of you escalating violence can affect your children, can affect strangers, your spouse, your finances, your security in life, your rights, all of that stuff.
Yeah.
And if you don't understand that, then that's where you need to start. You need to start with learning how to look further down the road. And that, like, you have to have a reason. If you're the gung-ho type and you're like, oh, I'm going to go out and enforce the rules of the road with your gun, and you know all the risks and you still do it, nobody is going to talk you out of that. There's no gun instructors gonna be like, oh, that's a dumb idea. Like, you're not getting through. But if you don't know the risks and you get a chance to learn the risks in a concealed carry class and some real, explicit explanation of the risks and how it works, you might be a little bit slower to be that gung-ho type. And then on the flip side, when you have the people who are like, I don't know when to use my gun, if we just tell them you use it when you think you need it. But don't do it unless you're willing to go to jail for this.
Correct.
Oh, well, what about this? No, it doesn't matter what about. Doesn't matter what about. In the moment, you're the one who makes that decision. You're the one who owns that decision. Yeah. For me to tell you when it's okay to use your gun and when it's not doesn't make any sense at all.
Correct.
Especially when it comes to the people who are afraid to use their guns.
Yeah. For sure. Yeah.
And that's why we train for the idea of I am being attacked and how do I respond to the attack with the firearm? Because that's the context that generally we're talking about somebody needing to use a gun. So we use the counter ambush, stimulus response, all that stuff. So I think a lot of people have this fantasy that if you use the right words in the class, everybody will go forth and make a decision that you would make or that you think is a good idea. Correct. And that's just dumb.
Yeah. Correct.
It doesn't work on any level. So on that note, though, I do remember one thing I wanted to talk about before we wrap up. I saw a clip of Mike Rowe talking about safety. It's not off topic. Everything's on topic. You can talk about whatever we want. So we all know, we've talked about this before, Mike Rowe, safety third, understanding how that works, why it's in place and all that stuff. But I saw him talking about this idea of safety always.
Safety always. Yeah. The article that I share with students at the beginning of the class, that's what it says. He says it's silly that we give it a number. We should always be thinking about safety. But if we are going to give it a number, it's 3.
I like that. I like that because it creates this little hiccup in your brain. You're like, wait, always, but number 3, like how, because we don't really think about things that way. But basically what he was saying with the safety always thing is that there is always risk present.
Always.
There's always risk present. And the only way that you can responsibly manage that risk is if you prioritize identifying it. You always accept and understand where the risk is present. If you do that, it will change the way you behave around risk. So for me personally, with driving, like I drive a lot more carefully than I used to because I've just come to understand the risk of driving so much better than I did when I was 17 or 25 or 30 or whatever. And it's also why I don't allow myself to own a fast car because I know the risk is there that I will not be able to not go fast in that car. So, but when it comes to guns, when I first started handling guns, I was very conscious right away of how dangerous these were. And I don't know why. I can't really take credit. It's just the way that I perceived the tool. So I've always been very careful around firearms. It doesn't mean I haven't made mistakes. It doesn't mean that I haven't made, like lapse in attention or whatever. But I think there's this idea, and we've identified, where people believe that if they have the magic words, the risk goes away.
Yeah.
And that's where things get very dangerous.
Correct.
So, anyway, it was a really interesting concept, especially as you raise teenagers to think like, oh, this is why they're so retarded. They don't understand risk.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And then we give them keys to the car. It's amazing to me that we don't let a 19-year-old buy a gun, but we will give a 16-year-old a car. Like, well, they went through a process. Like, yeah, I know what that process looks like. It doesn't get in their head about what the enormous responsibility they're taking on.
Correct.
You're like, oh yeah, okay, now they know what a stop sign is. Good for them. Like they can still choose not to stop.
And many do.
Yeah. So
as we wrap up, shameless plug. I've got a comedy show coming up.
Oh yeah, you didn't even bring this up when I said what's coming up. Friday, August 7th, 7 p.m. in Westminster.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, 8 p.m. in Westminster. Comedy show. You got 3 comedians, is that right?
3 comedians. One of them's coming out from California. The other ones are local. And then we might have a special guest. So anyways, if you guys are still watching or watching in the future, LagrangeMedia.com. It's right there on the screen. LagranGe media.com/comedy. Get your tickets there. But yeah, August 7th, 8 p.m.
Are you gonna MC?
Oh, I should. What up, pussies?
Yeah, you imagine how that would go. Hey, how's everybody doing tonight? You all suck.
You fucking douchebags.
Well, this guy's really a downer.
Or it might go amazing. It fucking worked out for Rickles just fine. I think we're back to Rickle territory.
Yeah, but I think Don Rickles didn't actually hate everybody. I think.
Yeah, and I don't know if I hate everybody, but it's a big chunk. It's a big chunk.
Thanks for everybody commenting. Thanks, Gun Websites, for stopping by. If you're not aware, Gun Websites does live streaming pretty much every day when it comes to I think mostly during the middle of the day. I see his live stream pop-ups on my phone. I don't get on there very often because I'm working during the day, but he's got I love the way that he thinks about the firearms community in general, and the way that he kind of like he inserted himself into the gun community, but he did it really in his own way. And I don't know, he's funny as hell. He's one of the funniest people I think in this space. So
yeah, check out his Facebook. I think that for me, that's where I like to see a lot of his content, because he posts a lot of, I don't know, pretty interesting shit there.
Yeah.
So anyways, I appreciate you guys. Thanks for hanging out with us for a couple hours. Isaac needs to go make dinner.
And the dishes.
And I need to go not do that. We'll see you guys whenever Isaac has another break from vacations.
Vacations are over until the next vacation.
Until the next vacation. July's vacations are over.
Yeah, now we're getting into August vacations.
Fucking white people shit. All right, guys. I appreciate you guys.